Well, welcome to Social Media Java. Who I have here is Tommy.ismy.name, and he is the Facebook guru. So he's a great guy. He's known for writing blogs, putting asses in the seats, and beatboxing. Now, I've seen the first two. How about you give us a little sample there, Tommy?
You're going to put me on the spot like that,
damn
huh?
right, so I'm going to put you on the spot. It doesn't have to be big, just a quick little...
Oh, hold on just
ditty.
a second. All right.
Outstanding.
Yeah. You got the first one out of me, man. That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's great. Now you just need to do the flute beatboxing or something. I
Right?
make Celtic flutes. I'll send you one. How about that?
Oh, okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. He's actually a really cool guy. Yeah. So,
Okay.
thanks for having me. This is great.
Oh no, I like this. Getting people on that have lots of personality. So far, I've had a couple people that have great personalities. I've been very lucky that way. So I'm sure we're gonna get the one guy that just stares at the camera and talks and doesn't really move his eyes or anything. But it's coming.
I'll be that guy.
Okay, that's disturbing. You get the creepy thing when you do that with the goatee. It's just,
it's the dark hair, the dark features, all of it. That's really what it comes down to. No, a lot of people don't know this. I started off with an acting background. And that's how I ended up getting into marketing. So that whole like characterization of things, like that's kind of part of the foundation of how I do what I do. So
that's good. Yeah. I buy products that have personality, so that's it's a good thing. So
yeah.
So give us a little Facebook tip, like social media, like give us just a quick little thing that we could do on Facebook. Doesn't have to take much time, but something that works, or even a good metric that we could pull from Facebook, whatever.
Sure. One of the biggest things that people try to focus on when they're looking at Facebook as a marketing tool is they're really concerned with how many likes that they have.
Yeah.
And while that's kind of important, it's really one of the most irrelevant things that you should be focused on. You should be focused on getting more engagement, get more comments, get more likes, get more people to actually interact with your stuff. Because when someone interacts with your stuff, it shows up in their friends' news feeds. If their friends are interested, they're likely to click over and create the snowball, that viral effect. And the other part is don't expect that just because you put a page out there or just because you do updates that people owe it to you to interact with your stuff. Like, you really have to serve the people that are there. Figure people are on Facebook to interact with their friends, see what their family's up to, look at cats that look like Hitler, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to stand out amongst that and marketing messages don't necessarily work as well as just being real. Be real.
So, well, here's a question then. Like, I've got Mechanical Mashup, my fun podcast on building things in the house. And there are times when we put up things like, Dave and I will put up a contest. And one of them we thought was really cool is that we would take 3 pictures of any person and we could turn that into a 3D model, and we print off a Lego minifig head about yay big that you could put onto any little Lego creature that has your face on it. And we thought it would be received really well, and it wasn't. It kind of dropped dead. Nobody wanted to participate. And I know that you haven't seen it, and you don't really know the dynamics at that point in time, but do you have any guesses as to why it might not have taken off?
It could have been. It really comes down to a lot of different things. It could be time of day. It could be the day of the week. It could be just that it wasn't you don't have the right people there in the first place. Not to say that it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Just it might not have been the exact right people there for that to actually happen. For that like little pop to take place where it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
So that happens a lot too. That happens a lot more than people will give it credit for. It's like you have this really good idea, but it's a really good idea for the wrong people. You know?
So this comes into being able to maybe, if we had something like that, we take a look at the metrics that happened after we launched that little contest and figure out what we did wrong from that, correct?
Yeah, you would do that. What I always recommend to people, my first step with any Facebook stuff is pay for the advertising. 100% just pay for the advertising.
Right.
And the reason for that is very, very simple. The people if you're on Facebook, you've input all this information into your profile. And a lot of people don't even realize how much they're telling other people about who they are as a person.
Right.
So if you were to do, a little mini Lego head figure, that would, people who are into mechanical type stuff and Legos, if they're coming to your page for the first time and they see that that's there, then they've got that sort of predisposition. But without controlling the flow of who's coming to your page in the first place, you kind of have you end up creating content in a vacuum and throwing stuff to the wall and seeing what sticks. And that can work to a certain extent, but it's really not sustainable over a longer period of time because you're just constantly throwing stuff to the wall. And what happens to a lot of people is they just get burned out.
That's understandable for sure. Well, that and I understand that you're going to be working on a product here coming up fairly soon on being able to exercise some of those metrics and be able to figure out what's going on and go from stuff. My big question is that I see a lot of people. Facebook is a social network and it's a fun place, like you said. It's the place where people go and talk about their friends. Take a look at a Hitler cat or whatever else you have out there, a Chucky cat. But what happens when you interject some business things? Like, I do SolidWorks, for instance, is where I make most of my money, and the SolidWorks membership site. And I've done some advertising on SolidWorks in Facebook, but it doesn't perform as well as it would in LinkedIn because people go to LinkedIn about business. People go to Facebook about fun. Is there a slot in there for business stuff?
There is. It's just a matter of thinking creatively about the way you target your ads. So, for example, I have my own ebook, the Hack the Newsfeed ebook, and creating ads for that. One would think that someone who is interested in blogging or social media or internet marketing, these would be a really good place. That's a really solid target for it to be. And at first glance, it would be. But being in that space and knowing what my advertising bar looks like, it's really, really hard to stand out because everybody's trying to blast the obvious target. So, kind of digging a little bit deeper, I found some really good results from an ad that I ran that was not towards internet marketers or the internet marketing space, but people who were doing independent consulting, freelancing. I'm an independent graphic designer. This type of stuff where it gets a little bit more specific about the field that a person's in. Yeah. And if I'm looking at, say, local DJs, right, and I'm advertising something that says, stand out in Google, they're going to see a lot more benefit from that than somebody who sees, stand out from Google, get top rankings, achieve #1 results. Like every day people see that. Instead, they're going to see more DJ equipment and stuff like that. So when you say to them, hey, stand out in Google, they're going to go, oh, it makes a little bit more sense that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. And when you buy the ads, you get access to the metrics of who these people are, what they're doing, and based off of that, you can identify 20% is that guy that does the DJ stuff, and this is where you can get in there.
Yeah, what's really cool about Facebook ads that I like, and a lot of people don't really even mention this a little, is after 14 days of running an ad, if you have really common targeting parameters, what you're going to get is a report called the responder profile.
Right.
And what the responder profile does is it gives you all of the common interests between the people who are clicking on your ads. So if I start targeting DJ-related keywords, for example, for a product that learn how to rank better in Google, for example, and I find out from these DJs that they're into 20 people who clicked on my ad see that they like this particular type of music, or they are into, they're more techno DJs as opposed to hip hop DJs. This gives me two things. One, it gives me more targeting parameters to add to my targeting profile for my ad, but the other part that's really important is it gives me information about how to communicate with them, because you could very easily say that your vision of the person who does hip hop is very different than a vision of a person who does techno. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So taking that information, you can start to extrapolate kind of the ideal target market and develop a communication strategy that goes more towards that one person or the other.
Yeah. No, I really like this because it's actually tying in the last two podcasts that I've done. One with Chris. Chris and I were talking about how it's not numbers, it's how you connect with the numbers that you have, which is important. Yep. And the other thing is to not assume that you know your demographic, and do as much research as you can about them so that you're appealing to them. Because the more you can contact them and talk their language, the more power you have, essentially. So, and you can get a lot of this information through Facebook. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people seem to lose sight of too, especially in business. Is, you know, I'm not in business for myself. I'm in business for the people that I serve.
Right.
You know, in order to constantly serve those people, you have to know what's going on in their mind. You have to know how to communicate with them and stand out. You know, if I don't know what your issue is, I can't help you. You know,
well,
and if
I have
I'm not
huge issues, dude. Huge issues.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a shirt that says "I have issues."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a shirt that says "F sleep," but you know. But yeah,
is that
I think
why you have a crib behind you? Because you.
Yeah. No, that's my son. He hasn't. That's my son's crib. He hasn't moved in yet, so.
Okay. Cool.
You know, he's still in our room, but yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. You know, using Facebook for business. LinkedIn is a very. I've been starting to use LinkedIn a little bit more. I stepped away from it for a little while, and I think it's a fantastic network. But the language that people use on LinkedIn is very business-like.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, like you can really get good business connections on there.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to get that business connection with a personal feel to it, right? So, you know, the people that you see that if you tend to do business with someone more and more, it's going to be because you connect on more levels than just, you know, I need you for this project. You know, and the more of a relationship you can build with someone, the better off you're going to be. And I think that Facebook does a much better job of that just by its design. You know.
No, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
And I think it to build that relationship over a longer period of time. I think that's where Facebook kind of trumps Google in that sense, and I think that's why a lot of people will see that Facebook is now their bigger referral. Not saying that optimizing for Google is not a good idea, because you have to.
Yeah.
But you have a better opportunity to build relationships with people because you're getting in the door before they have that need. So.
Yeah.
You get to stay top of mind at all times, as opposed to just whenever. So, anyways, I'm rambling. So
yeah, no, that's fine. So what I'm going to do just down here is I'm going to have some information on how to contact Tommy and keep in touch with him. You're going to want to do that because there is a couple of things that he's let me know about. I'm not sure if I can talk about them, but I am involved in one of the projects, and it's some really cool stuff on Facebook and how to leverage it and get into details. Some good actionable, like, you know, hand holding. This is what you do. This is step one kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people need that. But for those geniuses out there, this should be more than enough information for you to get out there and buy some Facebook ads and stuff. So thanks, man. And
no problem.
So you're gonna beatbox us out now? I figured if I got it in once, I might as well see if I can do it twice.
Oh, why not?
Nice.